Greetings, fellow educators. This is John Reynolds coming to you from the Rocky Mountains up here in Colorado. This is an example of what it sometimes looks like when I look out my front door and think about living up here for quite a few years, but 27 years of it teaching high school English in a small high school. And I've been thinking about this encouragement project and how it fits with social emotional learning for educators as well as students, and sure do appreciate the videos I've seen and Dave's work on this in terms of motivation and beliefs. And I'm always thinking, okay, this is great, so now what? You would think that with this kind of view, you wouldn't have problems or challenges, that a place like this would just be a great place to be, even during COVID times. But along with COVID, we've had some additional challenges. It seems like we've had a long stream of wildfires here that have made some of the conditions challenging, and quite a few folks kind of worried about the safety of their homes and where they're going to live and what have you, on top of the other challenges. Hopefully things won't get bad enough that we start to look more like a scene from Tolkien's Middle-earth Lord of the Rings scenarios. But I think eventually we'll get some rain and some snow to help calm things down. Thinking back to the encouragement theme, I was really encouraged and helped by Dave's chart. It's like an old saying, the truth will set you free, but first don't make you miserable. And it took me a while this week to get to a point where I felt like I could encourage somebody, because it just was really sinking in how much the unbelief column can be so much a part of not just crisis times, but the times with the same old things that just keep coming back and into our lives as challenges. I'd like to say I spend most of my time here on that side of the chart, but I think too often I'm over on this side. And just was really good to sort of break that out and see that. Also like to say in terms of images that I am like Henry V, or part of his royal crew, and that up here in the mountains, our small school can be really thrifty and successful and have that kind of enthusiasm. But unfortunately, too often it feels a little bit like a bad version of the Groundhog Day movie, where you're just reliving the same patterns over and over again. And sometimes it's missing the growth of the main character that was part of that movie. And I think during this time of crisis, but also during the normal times, there's some people who are always trying to sell a lot of approaches to making education better. Especially lately, I've heard so much about this is a time for a revolution in education. And I got to say, it feels a little bit like something from a shady used car salesman that is taking advantage of desperate times and desperate conditions. What's helped me the most has been this theme of focusing. And of course, if you're talking to a group that appreciates Dave Stewart, you can definitely tell where this is headed. A phrase that's coming to mind as I work with different folks is focus sustainable coaching strategies. Whether it's a crisis time or things are going well, the best thing we can do is to tap into strategies and approaches such as Mike Schmoker's focus book, Dave Stewart's These 6 Things All Year Long, and Michael Deegan, who's published some books on analytical voice, but also gives some great workshops on coaching, focus coaching, and how to help students really learn with a handful of really important strategies, which you can use on just a few tools. This year, I've got more mileage out of just Jamboard, plus Google Spreadsheets, plus Google Docs, and there's not much more beyond the Google Classroom that I found that I need to have students effective. And a slight adaptation, as students have had to distance for whatever reason, has been to just layer in a Google Meet to talk about it. what you're doing in synchronous live time with the classroom. So this little chart is just a small sampling of just some of the great strategies that Michael Deegan from Dallas Jesuit Prep School shares in his workshops. And this is a process and product planner that he puts together, and I adapted it to work with Death Be Not Proud by John Donne, great poem of encouragement and hope. And basically the students can see which lines we have. We can assign jigsaw, those sorts of things. They paraphrase their section. They draw evidence. They start to create associations, those kind of interpretive words they bring, concepts and words they bring. So this goes beyond mere summary. They work with blending those into sentences. And through the process, in a day or two, we can come back and start to see how this builds into great topic sentences. This whole process is very inductive, and this concept of jigsaw, close reading, inductive thinking has all been shown to be really powerful. So these handful of strategies, these happy few, combined with knowledge-rich, text-focused kind of activities every day with discussion and coaching woven in, just seems so encouraging. So I highly recommend not sweating the big old purchase, everything that comes your way, salesman pitch. Again, whether it's a crisis time or it's emergency time, get focused, work with people about what's essential, and start to think growth and development. And I think you're really going to be encouraged. So my closing thought is I'm hoping for helpful help for you from allies and friends, and help with your fears and your unbelief challenges that we find on this chart.